Hello, welcome back. I'm Miniature Mike, and I think we've already pumped out a couple of these videos now. I just barely released the video for Bounty Hunters. A lot of fun set, great fringe characters, interesting variety. But now we're going to move on to do Alliance and Empire. So this is an interesting set if you're familiar with the franchise. Um, all the cards are red, the bases are all square, and I think it was made for, it was the 20, shoot, I think it was done on purpose for like it was the 25th anniversary. I think it was the 30th anniversary of Star Wars, or the 25th anniversary of the company or something. But there's just an interesting flavor they threw on to these characters to kind of make them stand apart. So when you're collecting minis, you'll find a couple of these square base guys, and they're interesting. Just some backup with this set. I find it's a pretty middle set, meaning there's not a lot of bad stuff. There's not a lot of great stuff, like really great stuff. There is, but there's a lot of really good stuff in the middle, like a lot of good A, B, and C tier things. So I think that's definitely a lot of fun. So we'll jump right on into it. Our first character we're going to take a look at is Quinlan Voss, Infiltrator. On the surface, I'd almost want to say, okay, he's a solid B tier, but um, he's got recon, so being able to have stealth and recon, and then instead they dropped impulsive savagery and gave him momentum instead, which is awesome, especially if you pair it with sweep in circumstances. He doesn't cost that much. I think this guy goes straight to A tier. Fantastic combination of powers, really cool stuff going on here. Yeah, it goes straight to A tier. I think this is just so good. Aura Singh Jedi Hunter. This is a tough one. I rated her higher than Quinlan. I'm going to stick her just below for a moment. So she got some cool things. Like the original Aura Singh, she's got some solid powers, but she has double Blaster Barrage, so she can use Blaster Barrage and Twin, which is really great. So she can get a lot of shots out. Great raw stats, really good against Jedi, decent. I think for her, I think she just feels like she might be missing one thing, but I still think she's definitely maybe A tier, maybe B tier. I'm not sure how I feel about her, but like I'm gonna keep her just below Quinlan. I like Quinlan's combos more. Hers are really good too, but she feels a little bit maybe she's missing one thing. But yeah, definitely really good stuff going on here. Great raw stats altogether, so I'm not gonna be going wrong with her anytime soon. Biggs Darklighter. Let's see. So he's got high attack. So the nice thing about him is he will hit his target, and he has double. I don't really care for grenades, but whatever. So he does have careful, deadeye, and double. So he can hit a target pretty well and consistently if he gets that shot. But I think he costs way too much for what he does, to be completely honest with you. I think he's definitely a low B tier because like he's a very consistent. Like he will hit his targets, but he doesn't have the defense to stack up. He doesn't also have a lot of the stuff that's going to like make him deliver. So I think for me, I'm going to put Biggs. Let's see. It's going to be hard to find these people if they look so similar. I'm going to probably do low B tier for him because I do think that is good. It's important to be able to have that ability to be able to hit your target with very high precision. But that's kind of all he's doing for you. His defense is kind of low. So like I'm even honestly thinking maybe high C tier. I don't know. I put him low B tier. I'm gonna do this. Yeah, I'm gonna do high B tier, high C tier, maybe low B tier. But I just don't love that low defense and HP for what you're getting. Like yeah, it's great if he stands still, he can deliver, but that's a little bit too specific. Chewbacca Enraged Wookiee. So this guy is pretty great. So I'm gonna put him in B tier. And hear me out. Let's see if I grab the right one. Yeah, definitely B tier. So the thing with this guy is this is a great combination. So he will run up to a target and he will do 40 damage. The attack is solid. I wish it was a little bit more, but he has Savage. So while he is kind of cheap-ish for 34, what he's got is he can shoot, which is nice. And then he can shoot for 30. Don't forget about that. But the problem is though is when you want to use the Savage and you do hit a target, you're stuck. And your defense is so low, but you do have a lot of hit points to kind of counteract it. So I think he definitely has rolls, really good stuff. He can run up, hit targets hard. He doesn't have to run up because he has a ranged attack, which is an easy thing to forget about. Excuse me. But I just want to leave him in B tier. I think he's really good, like high B tier maybe potentially, but we'll see how the rest of this set shakes out. Um, but yeah, he's pretty solid. Pretty solid. I just worry about that low defense, maybe making him get wasted too fast. But again, it depends on the enemy. So definitely kind of gonna stick him in there. So let's see here. These two as a combination. I'm gonna take a look at where I put these guys originally. Let's see. Interesting. I can't imagine I put them very high. Yeah, so here's my issue. So you're paying a decent high cost, but then what you're going to be getting from it is you have more hit points on someone that can do some other solid things like disruptive and override. But I just think he's a little expensive for just wanting override. Like, I don't want my override character taking draw fire. I know that can be a little like, it could be nice to maybe not worry about override if you don't need to and use it. But I don't know. And the fact that his regeneration is kind of cool that they can repair themselves. But my logic with this is I just don't want this piece to use the full measure of the piece to have to he's like a bodyguard essentially. That's not something I want from this. So I'm not a huge fan of it. If I was going to have an override character, I'd choose like a bazillion different people. So that's kind of where I stand on that. Elite Hoth Troopers. I'm going to put these guys below. Yeah, right down there. They're fine. Whatever. Just a generic trooper. Decent stats. Han Solo Rogue. So my issue with him is he's missing mobile attack, which has become a more common thing for Han Solos to have. On his own, it's not too bad. So having accurate and cunning is always good. Having evade will help him survive a little bit longer, which is really good. And then having never tell me the odds suppresses enemy commander effects, modify initiative, so he can basically help in a couple circumstances with that. It's not going to pop up a lot, but it's nice to have. Evade is always good. If you take a look at how he compares to the older Solo, that costs 28. That one has 10 more hit points, 8 attack. He also has cunning and accurate, but not evade. And I think I put that guy in B tier. I think I'm going to switch. I had Biggs in B tier before, and then I had this Solo. I'm going to put this Solo at the bottom of B tier. I don't love him. I would rather have a more mobile Solo, to be completely honest with you, like the last two from Universe and then the one from Bounty Hunter. But I think this is fine. I'll leave this right here. Like, these are good combinations. It's good to have an accurate shot to be able to hit whatever you want, and then evade's going to help out too. But I don't love this Solo, but definitely don't dislike him too much either. This Solo, on the other hand, I do think this one is better, so I'm going to put him to the top of B tier for sure. So, very fun little thing. Alliance and Empire is very A New Hope focused, so it's fun how you have the Stormtrooper armor version. So the cool thing is this guy gives everyone charging fire on your turn, which is kind of pretty helpful. It means you can got more mobility and quicker firepower. But the cool thing with this guy is he has stealth, so he can just kind of like wander into position. If he's got cover, it's hard to hit him. And then he can run to a stealthy location and just shoot everybody, which is so cool. Like, so cool. So, I might even put him low A tier. I think these combinations are just, you can do some really wacky stuff with him. I know he's missing accurate shot. He's missing some of the other stuff that makes Han Solo good. But he's cheaper than the other one. And in my opinion, I'd rather have this one. I think he's a lot more fun. So, I'll put him low A tier. I think he probably deserves B tier, actually. But that's just my opinion. I'll do top of B tier for now. Han Solo on Tauntaun. This guy's also pretty solid. So this is another kind of Han Solo that I do like. He's got accurate cunning. He's got good stats. He's got mobile and speed 8. So this is, to me, feels like an improved version. I don't know. He's a combination of Solos, but I do like this. The only downside is he does have the large base, which isn't great, but it's totally fine. He's easily better than the other one. I still like the other Han Solo more for kind of the role he can play. But let's see. Let's find this guy right here. Let's see. Where is he? There we go. And I'm going to stick him right above I'm going to sing him below. I think Chewbacca can be pretty scary. I'm going to try to keep him high B tier if possible. But definitely better than the solo. He's cheaper. I think the only downside is his base, and he's missing evade. But like, if you have mobile attack, who cares? You don't need evade. Like, I think it's either or. If you have both, then it's pretty OP. But we'll leave it at that. Okay, Thorian Commander. I'm gonna shoot this guy straight to A tier for sure. So his commander effect is bonkers. So any follower in your squad that has melee and damage 10, which is like, I don't know, a huge chunk of fringe characters, you're going to be giving them 4 attack and 10 damage. Oh my gosh. So I feel like the Thorian Commander, if you want to build a squad, kind of working around that type of thing, and this kind of reminds me of some of the other characters before, if you mix this guy with the Thorian Scouts, if you mix this guy with all sorts of fringe characters, oh my gosh, like you can really unlock some incredible potential with cheap pieces. So the Thorian Commander is just incredible in my opinion. So very awesome. I might even bump him a little higher, but I'm not going to go too crazy. Luke Skywalker, Champion of the Force. So originally I ranked this guy in S tier, but I don't know if that's exactly right, to be completely honest. I'm going to put him top of A tier because I think I would rather have him than these other people, for example. But let's see what this guy's got going for him. So good stats, but his hit points are a bit low. Good powers, flurry attack is nice, and it pairs well with use the force, which you'll see very nicely with that. So he has force 1, so he has alter, which is very useful. So alter and trick are kind of helpful in circumstances, leaps, whatever. Night speed's fine, so he can get quickly to places. He's got deflect, so better against those, defending against range, and then use the force. So the cool thing with this guy, if you're in a position, you can use double attack and use the force and flurry attack. So you could do, 20 damage from a main attack, and then 40 from the guaranteed critical hit that you're going to give yourself, and then you can attack one more time. So this guy can do 80 damage. It's like having quadruple attack almost on someone who's 49. I think, though, there's just, like, the problem with him for not making S tier for me, and I really want to make him S tier. I put him S tier in my last one, but, like, these are all really great combinations, great powers for different things, but I feel like he's just a little bit, I feel like they bumped his cost, and the justification for bumping his cost was all these powers, but the problem is it's like, you can't necessarily use all these options at once. Like if he had Master of the Force 2, then yeah, that'd probably bump him up to S tier for me or something like that, or maybe just a little bit more stats. But definitely top of A tier, great piece, you can do a lot with them, really versatile, very versatile piece, but not quite S tier. Luke Skywalker, Hero of Yavin, pretty solid. I think this guy's going to go right into B tier for me. Again, pretty fun stuff. How he's got, he can really, he's kind of shooty McShoot. Not the most hit points, but he's got twin, double, flurry, deadly. So if this guy's got critical hits going on, like he's really all about those critical hits and just high volume shots. So like you should be able to, with all this attacking, have a higher chance of hitting a critical hit. And then when you do, you just keep attacking. So I think this guy is just a relentless shooter, just an absolutely relentless shooter. And he's got defenses as well for people shooting him, but the lightsaber deflect is kind of helpful. So I'm going to definitely stick him in B tier. I think the only thing holding him back is he's super one-dimensional, like super one-dimensional. So like if you kind of can get on top of him with some other things, you'll be in good shape. But definitely just extremely crazy firepower for what you're getting. So I'm going to put him just above, just above Chewbacca, I think, just because he has that firepower, but really nice. Luke's Land Speeder, so this is an S tier character. Awesome stats. Like for a 47, those are incredible stats. Oh my gosh. He has mobile and speed. He doesn't have flight though, which is kind of a bummer, but it's not too big a deal. At least he doesn't have rigid, but he has twin, so he can move fast. He can use twin attack. He can kind of get in and out and shoot things. So very awesome. And then his force power is pretty good too. Alter and Jemina Mind Trick are nice. If people go too close to you, you can kind of mess with them a little bit. And he has 6 force, so that's a good quantity if you're going to have a limit. But definitely S tier. He's just so annoying. This guy can just zoom around and shoot you and do some very fantastic stuff. So Definitely the first S tier. Mon Calamari Tech Specialist, so I'm going to put him down in D tier. This guy's Rebels. He's not going to be against droids very often. He might, but not often. Yeah, I don't really care for these guys much at all. The nice thing about them, though, is the fact they do cost 4, which is the same as like a battle droid, and they have far better stats. But at the same time, like I'm not going to be making an army full of these guys ever. So for me, they're D tier. Not interested in them. Obi-Wan Kenobi Light Spirit is A tier. So at worst, what this guy is before you really get into battle, you can really just kind of be that force battery to kind of bump people up. But the issue is that actually there's a few issues. You kind of have to stay close to the person. You don't have to be next to your guy all the time that you're kind of buffing, but you need to be able to. Yeah, you want to be able to be too close, but if you're too close while he's in a battle, like you don't want to be there. Like you want to get the points, the force points charged up before battle, hang back, and then hope that those force points are going to be able to help him out. I think he's definitely A tier, but I don't want to go too crazy with them, so I'll put him below these guys. Very helpful piece, very slow, unfortunately. So it's like, yeah, you're just gonna have to charge up your ally with force, and then just wait back and hope that that extra force is going to be helpful. I don't know, but then this guy can easily die too. So pretty good piece for sure. Princess Leia, so great commander effect. She's kind of expensive-ish, but that commander effect's really good to be able to give a rebel follower just kind of extra oomph. This could apply to like a Han Solo, for example. So definitely B tier, like high B tier for her, or high-ish B tier. Man, I might be too critical on these guys because they're pretty good. I'm gonna put her between these solos. So very solid, great commander effect though. But like that's kind of all she's got going for her. But good. Rebel Commandos. So these are the original Commandos. They're fine. I don't remember what I rated them originally in Rebel Storm, but I'll probably put them down here, like above these guys. Like stealth's good, decent hit point, decent stats for 14. They have grenades 10. So I'm gonna put them down there. But once you bring this guy in, the Rebel Commando Strike Leader, those commandos can be pretty scary because they'll have grenades 20, which is definitely much more interesting, and they'll have super stealth, which is so good. And then this guy himself has super stealth, grenades 20, so he's kind of like the Commander Bakara of the Rebels in some ways. I don't know if I like him quite as much as Commander Bakara because his power is very specific to Rebel Commandos, which I guess Commander Bakara is pretty specific too. I am going to probably throw this guy. I am probably going to throw him at the bottom of S tier. I think what this guy can do, and he can pair well with other people too. There's other characters coming on later that can benefit from this. Like the cool thing about commandos is commandos in your squad. So this is Rebel Commandos of various types. There are a few different Rebel Commandos. This can be various types of fringe commandos. There aren't that many, but it can apply to them too. And so being able to give it to him is pretty awesome. Like I think the Dracelian Commando, he applies to this too, which is pretty sweet. So Commando followers with grenades 10. So very, very nice. Like very fun to have squads with this guy. And there's some really good, like later on, they have some upgraded versions of Rebel Commandos that are so strong. And he just tips them all over the edge. Can't say enough. Rebel Pilot, nah, don't care about these guys. I'm going to put them down in B tier. Yeah, I probably prefer them over to these with the Mon Calamaris, but yeah. Rebel Troopers, yeah, D tier as well. I think I don't know. Basically, the cost difference between these two is he's a trooper, so he can benefit from more effects. I think I'll put him just a little bit higher, just to give him more the extra attack. The scramble's not all that helpful, but they're cheap. Twi'lek Rebel Agent, kind of cool if this guy gets a little bit closer, then you can use that stealth. You can use the combined fire to get a really strong shot off. So I think he's definitely probably like a high C tier. Not to say he's a bad unit or anything, but pretty has a use. But you got to watch out because they don't have very much hit points, so they may die before you even get a shot off. So let's put this guy above these. Yeah. Wookiee Freedom Fighter, these are great Wookiees. So they have great stats for being a 14. They shoot. They have momentum and charging assault. So if they run up to something, they can hit it really good for 30 damage. And then, demolish is always going to be nice to throw in if your enemy has some heavy equipment. Great guys. Great stuff. I'm going to put these guys probably not that crazy. I'm going to put them high B tier just for what they do, like for being that cheap. For being so cheap and being able to do all that stuff is pretty good. Since they're very similar to Chewbacca, I'm gonna put them right below Chewbacca because he's like a super version of these guys. But really nice. Very kind of similar, although he doesn't have Savage, which is helpful. Very very good. Admiral Piet, pretty awesome. So okay stats to kind of keep him around a little bit. So he has recon, very nice, but you gotta be careful with him. Be careful of those accurate shot guys. And then your troopers gain opportunist. That's kind of cool because troopers typically struggle with damage. They struggle with attack. And if you can kind of buff that just a little bit to really help them out in certain circumstances, I think that's pretty underrated. So I think for him, let's see, where did I put him on my original tier list? I probably put him in A tier, I think. No, I didn't. Okay, high B tier makes most sense. There he is, Admiral Piet. So I'm going to put him in high and B tier. I'm going to put him just below these guys. I like these guys. They're really powerful for B tier. But what he can do for troopers and the fact that he has recon is pretty awesome. So I give him, he's better for having recon because he does more, but definitely a nice guy. Okay, here we go. This is the best character in the set, hands down, by far. So a great Darth Vader. For a moment, this Darth Vader looks kind of generic. He has amazing hit stats. He has just basic special abilities, but he's got really useful powers. Like he has deflect, which is nice against shooters. Riposte is good against melee. Grip can be okay if you want to kind of single someone out and just do some 10 damage. Sweep's okay, but this guy's commander effect is just bonkers. Giving your trooper followers 6 defense. Like, they already have high defense, and now you're going to bump it up more, and that's before cover. So, if you mix this and the Felucian Stormtrooper Commander, you're looking at just, 30 defense Stormtroopers that just can't get shots, can't get hit. So, I think this is one of the most fun Darth Vaders. I think this is the best commander effect any Darth Vader has, by far. So, with that, clear S tier. Death Star Gunners, not bad. So for 11 points, you got a good shooter. A little low defense, but a good shooter. They do have Gunner, so for what that's worth, you can combine fire with the big machinery. But having Splash 10 is kind of cool, so you can kind of guarantee that you're going to hit things, even if you do miss. So pretty cool there. I think this is definitely more in a low B tier type of unit. I don't love it, but definitely not bad whatsoever. So I'm going to stick him right down there. Death Star Trooper, very unremarkable. They cost just a little more than a Rebel Trooper, but they just get 1 defense, 1 attack. So I'm going to throw these down in D tier, but I do appreciate the fact that they have slightly better stats. But for being 6, it's not really worth it for me. Heavy Stormtrooper, same kind of deal. Again, if you mix the Heavy Stormtrooper with that Darth Vader and he's in cover, this guy doesn't need to move. He just sits down and just fires away. And then if you mix him with Admiral Piet, he can do 40 damage for 10 attack. So I'm going to put this guy top of D tier. I even put a bottom of C tier. I think in Rebel Storm I put this in D tier, but the more I think about it, I'm going to put top of D tier. Heavy weapon to me is just such a deterrence to using, but you can set these. You can just because these are D tier, you can set them up and do great things. Imperial Governor Tarkin. So for me, it's been a while since we've had one, but I'm going to put him into A tier. I'm going to put him, if that sounds fine. So the cool thing with this guy is you want him to be somewhat near commanders. So allied commanders gain extra attack. So this could be a lot of Darth Vaders have commanders, are commanders, there's just a lot of opportunities, a lot of options to make this really strong. So you can give various Darth Vaders more attack. You can give various other interesting commanders more attack, which is really good. And then if people get too close to you, their attack goes down and they're not going to be able to do as much. So while Doctrine of Fear is dependent on that, you can use a Mass Amata to help this thing out a little bit. So I think he's definitely great. You pair him with this this guy right here, this Darth Vader, he's got triple attack now. So super powerful. Super, like, kind of underrated in terms of being able to give extra attack is so good. I know it's very specific to certain people, but it usually applies to the best people anyway. So easily, I'll put that Thorian Commander higher. A tier for sure. Imperial Officer. I like these guys. I think in my last video that covered Imperial Officers, I gave them a decent ranking. Where are we at with these guys? Yeah, I think C tier, somewhere like that's fine. I really like their commander effect. Really solid, but they don't have much else going for them. Scout Trooper. So yeah, we got one of every type of trooper in here, just about. I think Scout Troopers are definitely. I don't remember I put them before. It is nice that they have stealth. They don't have amazing stats, but they can hang out in stealth and do some solid things. Excuse me, the yawn. Whew. But I don't think they're quite that high. I'll put them in C tier, kind of like high C tier. I do like the fact that they're cheap for having stealth and stuff. Of course, it'd be nice if they did more, but that's definitely good enough for me. Snowtroopers, I don't like them as much. I'll put them maybe below these guys, like that. Yeah, I think that sounds appropriate. They have more hit points, but I prefer not to have more hit points in this case. Storm Commando. So I went too crazy on these before. Nah, I didn't go too crazy. I think these guys are S tier. So they do so much. Like, they cost 17 points. They have really good defense and decent hit points for being a shooter with 17. They don't have very good attack. Unfortunately, that's low, and the damage is low. But they have so much they can do. They have cunning attack, and double, and deadeye. So if you're just kind of hanging out and you get to you get the jump, you get 10 attack, 30 damage, double attack, in stealth, awesome. They have grenades 20, so that's getting to grenades 20 is helpful. Satchel charge, so these guys can blow their doors up, whatever they want to do. I think Storm Commandos are so nice, so versatile. They are very fun, very fun units to build around and to have on your squad. And they're not troopers, which is something you have to keep in mind. So they're not going to be able to get upgraded by too much stuff, but you can still make them work pretty good. I think talking a lot makes me yawn. I'll put these guys bottom of B tier. They are just stormtroopers, so nothing too basic, but that high defense, provide points, sign me up. Mix this guy with Darth Vader. In cover, he'll have 26 defense. Yeah, it's going to be hard to hit these things if that's the case. Stormtrooper Officer, definitely solid. I'll put him right above. I don't know when I did it before. I'll put him right above. Definitely a decent, very high defense, which is good. Definitely like that has the double attack as well. And then again, it's always helpful to be able to buff these stormtroopers if you're not planning on having to move too much. So definitely a solid commander. Stormtrooper on repulsor sled. So this guy is better than I thought he was. I think I rated him pretty low before, but the whole point of this guy is you have the high defense. You're not really there to shoot. Like, you can use mobile attack and speed 12 to shoot, but really the whole point of it is you bring him in. He's quick, so he can run in real fast. He can use his net gun to activate people, which can be really helpful to kind of do that, and then he runs away. So that's the whole point of him. You run in, activate people, run away. So I think that, and he's cheap. He's effective at doing it. To me, definitely makes him probably like a solid B tier type of unit. I'm gonna put him. Yeah, I think going up there is probably good enough. But really fun, really fun unit. I haven't really used him too much. I have one, but his role is pretty underrated. So highly recommend. Mara Jade Jedi. So I put her. Atop of A tier. Except I think I'll do just behind Luke. So solid stats, good attack, really good attack. So she's got a lot of cool things. So she's got twin, stealth. Deadly attack's not as cool because she has a base damage of 10. But the fact that she is in stealth is good. She can shoot with twin attack and cunning attack, so she can be very effective at shooting. In some ways reminds me of, Sing. Has a lightsaber, so really good in those melee situations too. And then... So good abilities, they all work together well. Nice that she has stealth. And then her force powers, being able to have assault is awesome. So she can move and use double attack and twin attack. So yeah, it's really lightsaber soul just replaces attacks, make 2 attacks. So I don't know if that's in her case, if that applies to the melee stipulation, but either way, very, very good. And then again, in melee, if people get too close, she'll be okay. Awesome unit. Let's see, what do we got with Boba Fett Enforcer? So I think with him, he's also A tier. So the thing I like about him, he's a cheap Boba Fett option. And he's cheap because he's missing flight, and that's pretty much it. So still has mobile, missiles 30, that's awesome. A lot of Bobas don't actually have missiles, unfortunately, but it's good that he has it. He has a net gun if he wants, although I don't know if I want him wasting a turn to do that, but not too bad. And then he's got a few other things too, like evade, so he'll stay alive easier, accurate, bounty hunter. So the three things that really knock him down compared to other Bobas is he's missing the double attack or twin, and he's missing flight. So to miss those things and get knocked down that many points is pretty crazy, but it makes sense. But for 38, he does so many good things for being just a cost 38 units. So I'm gonna probably stick him up here. I probably even put him. I think I like her more than Sing. Again, to be able to use mobile attack and missiles. You're just going to be shooting missiles at everyone left and right, running around. If you have a good shot, you'll take it. So, great A tier piece for only costing 38. Shadrafan Pickpocket. I think I put these guys. They're not terrible. So I think when I rated them, I put them down in like low B tier. So here's my logic with these, especially in this type of a set. I'll put them bottom of B tier. For 7, they do a lot. So for 7, if you have groups of them, they have high attack, very high attack. They have opportunist, and they have stealth. So you can kind of keep them out of harm's way, and they can run out when the right time is right to do 12 attack, 20 damage. And then since they're in the same set as the Authorian Commander, easily it's a obvious pair up, and they'll be able to have more attack and more damage. Pretty for being that cheap and doing this much for like melee stealth, pretty nice. But I'm gonna put them probably bottom. Yeah, I'm gonna put them that low just because I don't want to get too crazy with them. Duros Explorer. So cool thing with these guys as opposed to these ones. So even though Spotter is worse, they can stay alive a little bit better. So I do appreciate the fact that they have more survivability, so I put them just above. Because if I'm going to be using Spotter, I want to be able to use it, and this guy kind of gives me a little bit more insurance. F Mon, this guy's a little bit interesting, so kind of big, slow. If you get close to him, he may be able to hit you for a good amount of damage, probably not, but his commander effect is what he's all about. So enemies with accurate shot who have cover, they can be targeted by French followers within 6 squares of this character, even if those are not the enemies of the rear. So it's a very strange one where it's like, if there's an enemy that has accurate shot that's in cover, like it doesn't matter what they have, your guys can shoot them. Like they become legal targets. So it's a very odd power, but it's a power that can be really helpful at helping you kind of knock out those people that are just kind of hanging out in cover with accurate shot, sniping you. A little niche, so I don't want to go too high with his ranking, but I'll put him in B tier. I do think it's a pretty strong ability, but I'll put him right down there, middle of B tier. Ewok Hang Glider. Nah, these guys don't really do it for me. Sorry. Like, Swarm is fine, Strafe is fine, Flight is fine. I don't know why these guys have ranged attack. So these guys can technically shoot you with Swarm, which is weird. They should have had melee attack. I wonder if there's an errata for that. But I'll put them very bottom of C tier. And the reason I'm putting them very bottom of C tier is, well, maybe not that low. Yeah, so I don't know. Actually, for being 7 and being able to bump up the Swarm and be able to have Strafe is not terrible. But they are kind of fun. They are rare, as you can see, so they're kind of hard to collect. So it would be fun to have more of them. I'll be nice. I'll put them there in C tier. Like if you can get the strafe to work, they can shoot technically, which is good. Um, you can do some fun little shenanigans, if you had a couple of these and just did strafe attack on enemies, but I'm not expecting him to do much. Ewok Warrior, so these are fun. Again, ranged Ewoks with Swarm, so if you have a bunch of these together, or just kind of hanging out, or if you have other Ewoks next to these, then they can just buff his attack, and that's all you need. So they do start as a 5 with pretty bad stats for a 5 attack for a 5 costing piece, but you can bump that attack and get it pretty high. Again, I don't love these things either by any means, so I'll still probably have them like pretty low. So I think these guys, I think they're better than these. I'm going to put them just above the Hang Glider. Gamorrean Guard, don't love them. To me, straight to the bottom. So they're not going to hit much, and they have to get close to you to hit anything. So not a fan of these guys at all. Human Force Adept, these are high B tier. I might even stick this high. So the things you're getting with this, they don't cost that much, and you can bump their damage up pretty high, and they have alter. And then again, if you mix them with the Thorian Commander, they're going to be really strong. So this guy can get you guaranteed like 20 damage, to 30 damage. So I think high B tier, maybe that's a little too high. Let's do something like this. I'll put him just above Effetmon. Yeah, that sounds fine. The natural combination of mixing with the commander can make him really good. And you also got to just make sure that they're supported well, because you don't want to lose them too fast, but it is nice that they have 40 hit points. Jabba Crime Lord. This guy is probably going to be A tier. So the hard argument against not making him so high, I'm going to put him right there. Yeah, so he costs 15. He's dirt cheap. And for costing nothing, he has outrageous stats. Like, outrageous stats. I know he's slow, so that's an issue. But being able to have that high of stats and cutting attack and mighty swing, like, if you get right next to him, if you're a melee piece, you get next to him to attack him, and this guy gets the jump on you, 11 attack, 40 damage. Excuse me, that's so strong. So I might even put him higher than that. I think he's so good. Like, his self-defense against melee is really good. But then his commander effect, you give all non-unique French followers cutting attack. That's pretty good. It's a little bit conditional on things, but like just the fact that he's so cheap for having that kind of stats, like against melee pieces, he can hold his own very well, extremely well. But then against, shooters, that's kind of where his weakness is. But I'm going to definitely put him, I'll correct it, put him down here. Really good piece, don't get me wrong. But his whole purpose is to really just kind of support. Jawa on Ronto. So these things, I've never seen one before. So for an 11-point piece, they have 50 hit points. I don't think that exists anywhere, which is crazy. So these things are excellent against droids, and they're pretty cheap. So I'm not going to put them too low. I'll probably put them somewhere. Let's see, where do I put them? I put them top of D tier. I don't think that's fair, to be quite honest with you. I'm going to change my original ranking when I prepare this to put them down here. I'll put them... So they cost 11. They're huge. Not huge. They're large characters, so they can get hit pretty easily. They don't have good attacks. They won't have a good shot at hitting things, but they do have so many hit points, which I love. So I'm going to probably put these guys I'll put them right below the Hang Glider. Hang Glider's kind of fun. But yeah, very interesting. Really cool looking mini. But yeah, having 50 hit points is very underrated. However, they're not going to do much else for you for 11 points if you're not against droids. So against droids, you're in business. If there's no droids, you're not in business. Let's see. Getting a lot of messages today. Ewok Trader. So these are pretty good. They cost 2 less than the Ronto. Obviously way worse stats, but they have evade, they have cunning, and ion gun. So these guys, they will be able to deal with droids and other targets too, and they have evade. So I think for these, I'm definitely going to stick them down on the B tier range. Maybe just above. Yeah, I'm going to put them right there. The fact that they have evade is so good. Like, it's going to help them stay alive. Cunning attack and ion gun is going to help them obliterate droids. So if you have the right squad, they're incredible. If they're not in the right matchup, then they're not terrible, but they have their uses, I guess. Lando Calrissian Dashing Scoundrel. So this guy is the very top of B tier, in my opinion. He's the epitome of like the best B tier. So, good stats, but then he has kind of what you would want for 18-point shooter, evade and mobile. Awesome, incredible combination. And then he has opportunist. So this guy's just going to be kind of running around, kind of taking pot shots at you, and he's going to be such a pain to deal with. He's not quite like A tier, like he's not quite as like overpowered, or not overpowered. These guys are overpowered. He's not quite as ridiculous as these ones, but like definitely a piece I would not mind throwing in my squad anytime. Niktos Soldiers, useless. Rampaging Swampa. So definitely an upgrade over the original Wampa for sure. Because these guys have double and ambush, so they can get up to the target. They have enough hit points, despite the low defense, to get to a target. They'll get up there. They can use the ambush and double attack really strong. And then they have high enough attack where if they can attack again, they'll be able to use that Rend 20. They'll be able to use all that power stuff. So when it comes to Savage characters, I think this might be one of the best Savage characters you can ever have. Like, ever have. Like, put him with Exarchon. Now he gets momentum and ambush. Oh, brother. Like, oh, brother. Yeah, in my opinion, one of the best Savage characters in the entire game, for sure. Yeah, a lot of fun. Definitely better than the original Wampa, although the original Wampa was not too bad. It really wasn't. So, Scoundrel. So this guy's got Opportunist, Stealth, and Twin. Those are all pretty good. I think he's still probably a C tier piece to me, or low B tier. Good combinations of powers, don't get me wrong. To be able to shoot twice, hang out in stealth, and then be able to have Opportunist. But the base stats, though, are pretty lackluster, like 3 attack. You get bumped that to 7 attack. Like, there's pieces that cost 14 that do better than that just on their own. So I think for him, I'm going to do high B tier. I'd prefer to have bigs. Yeah, I'll do right here. It is a good combo of powers, don't get me wrong, but just because it has a high combo of powers doesn't mean it's incredible. However, so I'll leave them down there. Snivian Fringer, these guys are D tier. I guess they're good against unique enemies for only costing 6. That's not bad, but yeah, no. I'll put them above the Rebel Trooper. Like, if you have a good use for them, they can be nice to specifically go for the unique characters, but again, they only do 10 damage, so they're not going to do much anyways. The Tal's Spy. So these guys got Double Claw and Advantageous and Sabotage. They can shoot, which is good. And, they can kind of affect those big units decently well. So there's kind of a mix of things going on there. I don't really love them, though, to be honest with you. I'm going to probably put them like the bottom of C tier. And here's why. Like, even if you do get an advantageous attack, your attack is so low, you may not hit anyway. And then double claw attack is nice against those melee people, but you have to get right next to them, and you have to survive a turn to be able to use it. So that's not going good. And then sabotage is kind of cool. Like, but at the end of the day, like, mounted weapon people aren't as concerned about speed; they're more concerned about tankiness. So yeah, they're not D tier, but at the beginning they look cool, but when you really break it down, they're not all that great in my opinion. Trandoshan Mercenary. Unfortunately, these guys have a few things going against them, which is a bummer. So, a lot of cool powers, but their problem is this. They have Mercenary, which screws up 2 of their powers. So, if you can get next to someone, great. But otherwise, Mercenary is going to make it so you can't use Double Claw, so you can't use Rend, and you don't have enough hit points to use Rend anyway. You'll probably be dead before then. And then regeneration is kind of useless because you only ever get to use it if someone does 10 damage, and that's it. So it's not a very good regeneration. So I'm going to definitely stick these ones bottom of C tier. Like, they aren't, like, useless units. Like, they only cost 9. So, like, for costing 9, that's pretty good. But it's a 9-cost character that's never going to use these 2 powers. Regeneration is almost never going to be used either. And then so it's like you have all these powers that are listed on the card, but you might as well not list them because you're not going to use them. That's kind of my feeling on it. And then Mercenary just kind of makes him stay where he is. So even though he costs the same as like a Clone Trooper, like you don't need all these powers, and the Clone Trooper has 20 damage. He has more attack, which is good enough. So I think for C tier, I'll put him. While I will live in the C tier, I just like they have a lot of powers that you don't get to use ever, which is a problem. Tusken Raider, these guys are D tier. Again, if you mix these with the Thorian Commander, they are a different story. If you mix them with a Shared Het and the Thorian Commander, they are a scary story. But no, they're not great. So not ideal. Just kind of on their own. So I'll put them down there in the bottom. Wicket. I think I had Wicket in A tier. Let's stick him up in A tier here. Question is, where in A tier? So he's very cheap. He's got stealth. He can make other Ewoks a little bit better. And then, it's really fun how if you maneuver him right, your enemies, they just don't have as many hit points. So if you have him like as a support piece, then other people trying to kill someone that's getting close to you is just weaker. So I think those are pretty underrated powers. I'll put him at the bottom of A tier just because, like, I guess he can shoot, so he can throw a spear, which is helpful, and he has stealth. But being able to I'll put him up here. Being able to have traps is pretty dang good. So I am a fan of him. Advanced Agent Officer. So Yusun Fong, allies get Cunning Attack. This is very good for War Master Cao Vang La, because that guy doesn't do much damage. Well, now this guy, he can make him do a lot more damage in circumstances. And then again, he has stealth, which is great to stay alive. He can have Thudbug, which Thudbug is a very underrated kind of short-range power. You're never going to be using your normal attack. You'll always be using Thudbug usually. So I think for what he does, for only costing 11, he's going to really help the team out quite a significant amount. So I'm going to put this guy, I think I was too harsh on him. I'm going to put him in B tier, like low B tier. For what he means to Yusun Vong, I think they are essential for what they mean for Yusun Vong. They help so much, tremendously. So for that reason, I'm going to put them down in B tier. Advanced Scouts. So these guys, in my opinion, are A tier. And here's why. So I'm going to put them right there at the bottom of A tier. So they cost 6, so they're the cheapest Yusun Vong you can get. The stats aren't good, but that's not why you want them. But they have stealth, and that is the cool part. So they have stealth and Thudbug. So the whole deal with them is you mix these guys in a Nor squad, and now they'll have super stealth, they'll have self-destruct. So in order for people to kill them, they have to get next to them. And if they get next to them or too close to them, you can use Thudbug a few times, you can use damage, you can really slow them down. So I think these guys are awesome. Like I would never use the Yusun Vong Warriors. I'd probably just prioritize these guys in that situation. But pretty cool if we put in the right combinations of stuff. And then Yamen Kar. So again, Yamen Kar is a character that is essential for the team. So solid stats to stay alive. He's missing crab armor, which is weird, but he does have the usual things. Poison's good. Spit Poison is a nice little power, ranged power. He always has that bug, but Yusun Vong allies within 6 squares, they get 10, Poison 10, and Spit Poison. So again, this guy and the Advanced Agent Officer, if you have them support like War Master Cao Vang La, you can turn him into just a brutal force, an absolutely brutal force, because of these Yusun Vong allies powers. So I'm going to price stick him up here in the same spot I put the Advanced Agent Officer. I'm going to put him higher. I'm going to put them above these. Yeah, that looks appropriate. Just kind of on their own, like Yusun Vong can be a little wacky to play with sometimes, but the fact that he also has stealth as well is really good. But I think these guys provide so much value. They help your team out in ways that they're weak, and that's important. And with that, that's right, I'm missing the card for this guy right here. So let's see. Do I have it in here, or did I put it in differently? Nope. So all this person does is they just give spotter and they have a decent amount of attack. Kind of reminiscent. Kind of reminiscent of Rebel Captain. If you play them right, and use their spotter appropriately, they can be devastating. However, I am going to put them top of C tier. A good unit, in the right circumstances, a great unit, but just in general, there's better options for the Rebels. So, okay, I think that's going to sum it up. These not, again, very heavy in the middle, lots of B and C stuff, some decent A tier options. Really kind of different types of units that you typically see. And also the set, I don't think the set necessarily introduced too many unique powers either. Pretty much every set will introduce new mechanics, but this one, it kind of feels like they just give people a lot of the same old mechanics, which is totally fine. So there's a lot of versatile pieces in this set. That's a good way to put it. But yeah, with that, thank you. If you've tuned in this long, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment as well. After this, I'll be working on a video for, let's see, the next set is The Force Unleashed. That is a great set. That is a really great set. So I'm looking forward to doing that one. But anyways, I hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you next time.